Welcome to Sinister Heroes! I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons. We're trying to favor a darker tone with everything we do. So if you like that kind of edgier content, please like, share, and subscribe. Please keep commenting. Talking to you guys is one of the best things about this channel. It's great to hear your opinions, thoughts, even if they are opposed to my own. This week, we're going to talk about the 1D&D playtest release. We're going to start out with the Cleric. So as more and more of these playtests come out, you're starting to see a pattern. At least I am. I'm starting to see more and more subclass abilities being the final ability coming out at 14th level. So you're going to get more of the full capability of your subclass, which is great. It's something, again, you don't ever see because a lot of that comes on really, really late. A lot of them coming out at 16th, 17th, or 18th level. Now you get it at 14. Still a little high for most of the campaigns that are out there. But you do have a better chance of actually seeing those abilities, so it might change how people might be looking at multi-classing and things like that, depending on what that ability is. I don't really believe these changes really do all that much. It seems to kind of just, some things go up, some things go down, but a lot of it is really just kind of keeping to almost a minimum. So it's not very impressive of a change. A lot of these things are going to seem pretty basic or not a big change of what already exists. One or two things I think are kind of interesting, but a lot of them are going to be dwarfed out by some of the other options. But with that being said, let's take a look at some of the things that have been augmented. We're going to start first with Channel Divinity. The original Channel Divinity came on at 2nd level, and the new Channel Divinity in 1D&D comes on at 1st level. One of the major differences in the mechanical uses of it, in the original current D&D, you can use a Channel Divinity once per short or long rest. So depending on how you have everything set up, that might equal more or less. Now, in the current 1D&D, you can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and then it is restored at the end of a long rest. So there is a difference there depending on where you are level-wise. That might mean more or less Channel Divinity, but ultimately it doesn't really fluctuate that much. Also, with the 1D&D Channel Divinity, you get two options as opposed to just a stationary turn undead and then whatever your domain feature is. So with 1D&D, you get two options. The first of those options is Divine Spark. As a magic action, you point your holy symbol at another creature you could see within 30 feet of yourself and focus divine energy at them. Roll a number of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and add the rolls together. You either restore hit points to the creature equal to that total or force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes radiant damage equal to the total, and on a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage. This is the real issue with this kind of an ability. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be using this for a heal. A lot of the times when you're fighting enemies, especially the higher level you go, those con saves end up being a very difficult thing for them to fail. It's just the way that the monsters are created, unless they do something different with the CR of monsters and how their stats work. It is a really annoying thing to see a spell that sounds great and then read the text and see it's a con save. A lot of the times, it's going to be difficult to make that and make it very viable. So, what do you really do? In this situation, it's a heal. It's a heal based on d8s. At 1st level, you're going to have 2d8. So, yeah, is it going to be a lot for a 1st level character? Yeah, great. Awesome. Is it going to steadily increase? Yeah, it's not going to be too strong, but it will be somewhat noticeable. It'll be kind of important later on. There aren't any modifiers to it currently, but maybe that will change. The other option you have for your Channel Divinity is Turn Undead. As a magic action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring undead creatures. Each undead within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails the saving throw, it is dazed for 1 minute or until it takes any damage or you are incapacitated or die. While dazed in this way, the only action the creature can take is the dash action, and if it moves, it must end that move further from you than where it started. The traditional turn undead works in almost the same exact fashion. The dazed condition is a little tricky as it kind of works like the slow condition where you can either take a bonus action or an action or a reaction. You can only do one. So it's a little bit of an offshoot of slow. It's strange that they put this on top of the fact that they have to take its action to dash, so it won't be making any attacks anyway. And it kind of just makes it impossible for them to do anything else. As Turn Undead has existed previously, it is valuable in circumstances where you're fighting a lot of undead. Play Curse of Strahd and have a cleric that actually uses Turn Undead, and it is a dynamically different campaign. It is very powerful because there are very few things that can crowd control the undead pretty effectively and have this kind of a range to it. It is very strong. The major issue with Turn Undead that a lot of people have been talking about has been the issue that at higher levels it becomes Destroy Undead beneath a certain level of CR. So it is interesting to see that. What it's going to happen after it as we go further, we will see as things progress. But at this point early on, it's almost an exact same replica of Turn Undead. The only difference is that Daze condition. But in truth, the only real option that gives you something different is the first option of the Divine Spark, where it gives you an opportunity to heal. Yeah, it's a great extra heal, and it doesn't require a spell slot, so maybe that's going to be more beneficial in a lot of campaigns, but considering how much undead you tend to fight, Turn Undead is still going to be your best usage early on. A quick note on the spell casting and spell choices. It's not something I'm very fond of at this iteration. I really don't like a lot of the spell lists. A lot of them just kind of feel thrown in a weird mishmash, and it just seems harder to use. A lot of the spells on the spell list for the cleric are a lot of the spells that they normally would have. Their cantrips do not have any of the current advanced books that like Toll the Dead and things like that, or Word of Radiance. Those things are in existence at this point in the 1D&D playtest, so a lot of that stuff is missing. And that's a little bit important because of what we're going to get into next, which is the Holy Orders. You gain Holy Orders at 2nd level, and it states that you have dedicated yourself to one of the following sacred roles, either on your own or as part of a religious order. Choose one of the following options. Protector, train for battle. You gain martial weapon proficiency and heavy armor training. Scholar, studying and teaching about lore of the gods and the multiverse. You gain proficiency in 2 of the following skills of your choice. Arcana, History, Nature, Persuasion, and Religion. Whenever you make an ability check using either skill, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. Thaumaturgy. Delving deeper into your divine magical capabilities, you can prepare 1 extra 0-level spell from your divine spell list. See your spellcasting feature for more information on preparing spells. In addition, you regain 1 expended use of your Channel Divinity whenever you finish a short rest. Now, obviously, the clear winner is the Protector. You're going to get heavy armor, and it's something that a lot of clerics get currently with their domain features. It does make you tanky, it can put you in front lines, it can make you do a variety of things. Scholar is more for a role-playing campaign. You want those proficiencies, you want to be kind of the skill monkey, really help yourself in a lot of those things, because now your wisdom will compensate for whatever intelligence, which most of those checks are. It gives you the ability to be persuasive, which is nice because now you can help out and be kind of a face in case there's a random scenario where there are no charisma casters in your party. I know, wild. Thaumaturge. This is an interesting concept because it's going to give you 1 use of your Channel Divinity per short rest. The extra cantrip or 0-level spell isn't going to matter because, again, there's no Word of Radiance, there's no Toll of the Dead, you're already going to have your only offensive cantrip, and you're already going to have guidance and or resistance. What else do you realistically need from that spell list? I can't imagine it being so important. So on a lot of the times, you're just going to see Protector. 9 times out of 10, because why would you pick Scholar? A lot of the times you're going to have Wizards or Arcane Tricksters or Eldritch Knights or even Blood Hunters, like whatever it is, you're going to have a lot of viable people for intelligence. I forgot to mention the Artificer there, but intelligence isn't something that you don't ever see in games. So you have most of that stuff covered, or at least the viability to do so. And Thaumaturge is just one of those things where it's like all you're getting is an extra Channel Divinity, which is great, but again, because it's based off proficiency bonus, you're getting them pretty regularly, or you have enough of them. And considering your only options at this point are to heal or to turn the undead, if you're fighting goblins, you're really only healing. And you already have spells that can do that, so really, you just gave every cleric heavy armor. At 3rd level, you're going to get your first subclass ability. Now, this is different from the clerics who normally get them at level 1, but that level 1 ability is basically what you're getting now. They give us the example of the life domain cleric as the subclass, and when you hit 3rd level, this is what you get. Disciple of Life. Your healing spells are empowered by life itself. When a spell you cast with a spell slot restores hit points to a creature, that creature regains additional hit points on the turn you cast the spell. The additional hit points equal 2 plus the spell's level. This flavor text drives me nuts because I hate things that are empowered by life itself. That aside, this was a level 1 ability you got as a subclass feature. It's one of the things that made the cleric so much more dynamic at early levels because they have these already. This, I believe, is a standardization thing where all 3rd levels, that's when you're going to get your first level, your first subclass feature. And that's going to make 3rd level a huge level, which is cool. I like that. I think it's fun and exciting. And level 1 combat is so dangerous, and it's very exciting, and especially once you hit 3rd level, everyone gets that ability jump. And as opposed to just starting out with it and being super strong in the beginning, now everyone feels that like we're 3rd level, like we're something better, and it's a big moment for level progression when you hit that. So getting all these abilities at the same time, it's a nice camaraderie for you and your party. Outside of that, this is solely going to depend on which domain you pick. So some of them will be great, some of them will not be, but ultimately, did this change anything for the cleric? And the answer is no. All it did was delay something that already existed. At 5th level, you gain access to Smite Undead. You can cause your Turn Undead feature to Smite the Undying whenever you use Turn Undead. You can roll a number of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus and add the rolls together. Each undead that fails its saving throw against that use of Turn Undead takes radiant damage equal to the roll's total. Now, this is really strange because it's going to be 3d8 at this point because your proficiency bonus is 3. So it is a pretty decent amount of damage if you hit a lot of undead, but realistically you're just peppering on some extra damage to it. I think this is kind of intended to compensate for Destroy Undead, where you're starting to get to that level where you cast Turn Undead and anything below a certain CR rating would just instantly be destroyed. This is kind of to mitigate that, as that now doesn't exist. But does it grow stronger? Yes, it'll eventually end up being 68. So, alright at the end, but currently 3d8, dependent on the roll, is going to be most of the time probably about 15 damage. And it is radiant damage, so if you don't deal a lot of radiant damage currently, or have a lot of AoE spells to hit undead, this will constitute. Again, what you decide to use your Channel Divinity on is going to be dependent on what domain you have. So maybe you pick one that's more viable for other things. But this is an alternative to Turn Undead. It's really kind of a buff to it, but it's not enough. It doesn't feel good enough, and when you get higher levels, it's not going to be as strong as it should be. It's never going to feel like, oh yes, now I'm going to smite the undead as this great feature. Like, yeah, it does deal a lot of damage in a bigger area, but if you're not fighting that many undead, all you did was 3d8. And in comparison, you're getting 3rd level spells at this point. Even upcasting some other spells is going to do significantly more damage than that, so what is your action here? Is it really for dazing and making the undead run from you, or are you really using this for the damage? If you're focusing purely on the damage, then it's not worth it. If you're focusing on the crowd control that you can do, then it's always worth it with or without the damage, because that is a game changer. But the damage substituting a stronger ability that already exists feels kind of like a letdown. I'd rather just destroy CR 1/2 monsters at this point. Give me that. Make it more dynamic, more prone to being what a cleric is and the enemy of undead. Like, it should really feel like that, but this takes that away and molds it into something else, like ordering a slice of pizza and getting someone's take on a deconstructed pizza. Like, it's not the same thing. Cue the dynamic costume change. This video is ending up being a lot longer than we expected it to be, so we're splitting it up into 2 parts. The other part will be released in just a day or two. We just didn't want it all to be compiled into one big long video, so we're breaking it off here right in the middle. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, please like, share, and subscribe. Please keep commenting. We are very excited to hear your opinions about the 1D&D Cleric. So that being said, we look forward to seeing you in just a couple of days. Thank you so much for making it this far. Thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.